It's season 3, episode 1, and Bosch has already got himself in the middle of 2 more cases. We're breaking it down. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
What's up, AfterBuzzers? Welcome to the first episode of Bosch. We're breaking down season 3, episode 1 tonight. I'm your host, Olivia Gabaree. You can hit me up on Instagram and Twitter, The Real OG.
And I'm Candace Cruz, and you can follow me on all my social media, Twitter and Instagram, at Candace R. Cruz.
So,
right.
It's been some time since we've last seen Bosch. It's been like 16 months now, right?
It's been a while.
Storyline.
Yeah.
So, now Bosch's mother's killer is officially dead.
Yeah.
His daughter Maddie is living with him.
I love that she's there now.
I do too.
She's adorable, and I think she's a really good, person to have with him all the time now.
She keeps him in check.
Yes, I feel like she's more the mother than he is. I think she's with the whole line of, can I give you a a curfew? There we go. There we
go.
go.
100%. But do you notice something different about Bosch's energy and character in the beginning of the season?
Yeah, he's very sneaky in this one. I feel like he's always been very much beat to his own drum and do whatever he wants, really. But I think this one, he's very much more calculated, and he's very quiet and reserved in the sense of what he's doing with all the cases too. I don't know. His energy's just different to me in season 3.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that he's struggling very much with the fact that his mother's storyline is kind of dead at this point because all this whole time he had been wondering, and still at the back of his mind he always wanted to find her killer and try to figure it out. And now that has come to an end for him because he officially found out that the man who did it is dead.
Yeah.
I think that he just has a very different way about him.
I think he almost has his own vengeance. He's still trying to revenge his mother's death. It's it wasn't the ending he wanted when he found out who his mother's killer was, and the fact that he's gone. I think he's still going to constantly have that edge to him,
Exactly.
Maybe that's the energy shift that I'm feeling in season 3.
Yeah, and it just seems like he immerses himself directly into his work. He's kind of like that cop that actually cares. It's not just a job for him, it's a lifestyle.
Well, it's interesting because so many times in the last, the first 2 episodes that we have in season 3, everyone's saying you need to get a life. So I almost feel like it's a common thread he keeps hearing over and over. Why not get your own life?
Exactly. And, maybe now that Maddie lives with him, it will be more apparent that he does have to have a separate life.
I hope so.
Yeah, but so far it is not
so
looking
much.
like
No,
it.
not at all.
He has himself in the middle of all these cases, and I don't know about for you, but for me, it's hard to keep all of these straight.
There's 4 or 5, and then there's little nuances that I see that I'm oh, this is going to come up in future episodes. You can totally tell.
Yeah, I feel like some things are going to end up being tied together, but I figured we could just break it down as a case-by-case type of thing.
Perfect. Let's do it.
So starting with the Veronica Allen trial. So this trial was left off from last season. Basically, Veronica Allen's husband had died, and she was jumping through hoops, and she was kind of in cahoots with cops and dirty cops in order to get her husband's money on the low. How do you feel about Veronica as a character?
I don't like her. She's just too slimy and sneaky for me. I feel like she had a lot more to do with all of this, and I feel like she's going to still play a part just because of the whole fact that there was a mistrial now, and Bosch is out to get her, so I feel like she's going to be a critical character throughout season 3. I just don't like her. She's sneaky. I really do think that she obviously killed the priest.
I agree. And I think everybody knows she killed the priest, including her attorney. But it's very clear that especially her...
Honey's all about the money.
Yes. And the lawyer that she has something against Bosch. So, of course, she's going to take this as soon as she sees Bosch's name in the mix.
Yeah.
So this trial, come to find out, it ended up being a mistrial. But it was basically for the death of Father Tabakian.
Yeah.
So Father Tabakian comes into play because Veronica Allen's husband's mistress used the money that she got from her husband
and gave it to the church.
exactly.
Yeah.
And Veronica came to the church looking to get the money back, and the father, he seems like, I don't know, I didn't dislike him. I feel like he was coming from a grounded place.
I feel like he was in a bad place at a bad time.
Right,
like
exactly.
he just kind of got thrown into the mix and probably had nothing to do with any of this.
I mean, think about it. If someone came up to you and said, sorry, but all the money that got donated to you is mine and give it back, you would have to have some proof. I'm not just going to dish up thousands of dollars for you. Of
course not. And then she got very aggressive really quick. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the clips that you see, like at the beginning of episode 1 when they do the flashbacks, you clearly see that she just went full on abrasive at him. Exactly. I mean, what else would you do?
Yeah, and her whole defense at this point was self-defense, that the father was going to stab her with scissors, and
those scissors
she
were
defended
placed.
herself with
They were totally placed.
Exactly. Yeah. I agree with you too. And no offense, but a jury that really believes that's a little foolish to me, at least I think. But maybe her lawyer was just that fabulous. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think the lawyer knew she was out of her realm too. Yeah. I feel like she obviously thought that, Veronica committed the crime. That's probably why the actual ruling was that they couldn't give enough justification on either end. So that's why they considered it like a mistrial. Right. So, I mean, it wasn't decided either way. So clearly the girl, she's up for another trial anyway. So the judge didn't even rule, or the jury didn't even rule in her favor either. I think she knows that too. Like, she reads that. She's nervous.
Right. And here's the thing is Bosch knows that, and he's obviously pushing for a new trial. However, the DA does not want a new trial.
No, not at all. That whole video thing.
Yeah, and it's basically because it's clear that Bosch has a reputation. He was in the press a couple seasons back. He's known not necessarily for being a dirty cop, because I don't think that he is a dirty cop. It's almost like he knows what the outcome should be, and he knows that justice has to be served, but sometimes he has to bend the rules in order to make that happen.
And the people that are in power don't like that. They always want someone to follow the P's and Q's and do exactly as they say, even if it's not completely right. I feel like there's a lot of politics involved with Bosch's department and everything, and he's totally not about it.
Oh, I totally agree, especially between he and the district attorney, because if we remember back, I'm not sure if it was season 1. Yeah,
oh, yeah.
This DA ordered Bosch and all the other officers to loosen the shackles of this extremely violent killer who ended up getting off and wreaking a havoc, killing so many people, and it all fell back on this DA. So now the DA is very hesitant to call for a new trial for Veronica Allen because of all the negative press that he had been getting.
Of course, and him running for mayor, and then the fact that he didn't want the video to get out, and Bosch had a copy of it, and Irving had a copy of it. There was just so much that happened between season 1 and season 2 that that the DA hates Bosch. He even made a comment later on, I don't know whether it was episode 1 or 2, it's kind of hard because they kind of blend together a little bit, is he went to Irving and said, call off your watchdog, because of the whole confrontation in El Compadre.
Right, the viral video, because he knew Bosch called him out for he thinks that it's because of the beef he has with Irving that he's unwilling to call for this new trial.
Yeah.
And what's crazy about all this is, Bosch freaked out. Someone took a video. I necessarily don't think that's worthy of a viral video.
No,
it's not like
that would not actually go viral. I'm sorry.
He just lost his cool, and I don't blame him.
No, not at all.
But it's so funny because now his daughter has to keep him grounded, being like, look, Dad, you're viral on Twitter. Time to chill out.
Cameras are everywhere now.
Yeah.
No. I don't know. I just think that it got blown out of proportion, and they just want to find some reason to let Bosch go.
Right.
That little video doesn't really matter at all.
I know. And it's unfortunate because I feel like there are a lot of people that are out to get Bosch and are out to get him off the force, but he can't get off the force. He's our main character.
Right. He's our main character. Plus, he's a badass. Come on. Can I say that? Yes.
I really do like Bosch. I really do enjoy him as a person. So aside from that, so now we have the Veronica trial. The Veronica Allen trial is a mistrial, still kind of on hold. We're assuming it's not going to be retried, but you never know.
I feel like she's going to have a place somewhere, but I don't know how soon or how much.
Right.
You know, you never know with having 5 or 6 different storylines within this show.
I know. And so the beginning of episode 1, actually, to go back a little bit, you know, this person, this tagger was doing graffiti, whatever, and he sort of witnessed a murder happen right before his eyes. So this man got killed in his RV, shot in the back of his head, and it turns out that it was William Meadows? Meadows, I'll say. He was a vet, and he served in Iraq and Afghanistan, and Bosch knew this based on his tattoos, but come to find out, you know, we met his family and everything else.
I feel like it was such a non-dramatic death at the scene, like doing graffiti, and then all of a sudden you hear a pop of a gun, and then that's it.
Right.
Like, we don't see any of it until they go to actually find him in the RV, and it's been like cooking for a while, which is horrible. But I liked that they found all of his medals. I think that there's going to be a lot of a backstory to William Meadows,
Right?
Because in episode 2, they go and actually find his like trash can that they have for the homeless, where they can check in their like most prized possessions, and seeing all the medals. Like, this guy was a very decorated military man. Like, he was very well regarded, and it's just, I'm interested to see how he ended up the way he was and who was after him.
Right. And we got to hear from his mother for a little bit, and unfortunately, like a lot of veterans, when you do come back from Iraq or Afghanistan or wherever you're stationed, you do have a lot of problems, because it's extremely hard to get reacclimated to just normal life again.
Oh, and after you've seen stuff like that, it's traumatic.
Exactly. So his mom vocalized that he was suffering from substance abuse, among a couple of other things. So this is why he was living in an RV, sort of homeless, and was disconnected from his family. But at this point, that's all we really know of him. Did you pick up any other things that you feel like could be connected at this point?
No, but I did want to ask your opinion on the guy that was tagging the wall. Is he the guy that was hanging out with all the kids that was trying to get alcohol?
Exactly.
Because they look the exact same, but I cannot tell because he had the hood up and was doing the full-on graffiti. So we didn't really get like a good look of this kid. But I'm interested to see if those two coincide.
I think that they do, because I mean, it's very clear the type of person that was tagging, and the type of person that was buddying outside
and getting alcohol
and then use that to his leverage to steal a car. And I would even go as far as maybe stretching it to, remember when that woman got robbed and her purse and her bag got stolen?
No, he's a guy. He actually, it's so crazy. He's a black guy. No idea who he is.
Oh, really?
He ends up showing up a couple times. He shoots the guy's window.
Okay, so these are two different robbers that we got going on.
So we're gonna have like
here.
7 storylines in Bosch this season.
This
it's
is
just so much
confusing. I hope all of this like coincides into one at some point.
I hope so.
But so let's just keep that in mind, because I have a feeling that both of those characters are going to be popping up, since they have both been popping up consistently throughout these episodes.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to play a role, because we don't really know much about why they're stealing and why they're going to these measures to do so. They have to have a bigger
There's going to be
purpose.
something, but I do remember whenever the guy, Bosch, comes on the scene to go find William Meadows, he's talking to the 2 officers that were actually investigating it first, and he says that tag looks fresh. And the guy, one of the officers, I can't remember his name, he's one of the supporting characters, but he was like, oh, I've got a tag on this guy. I know who he is. It's tagging that wall. Ooh. So it's probably the guy that's been hanging out at the gas station, and that's why he has a look on him. I don't know. It's just very intriguing.
Okay, so we're going to save that in our back pocket for safekeeping.
Yeah, I feel like both of those are back-pocketed for a couple episodes.
I'll remember that. Okay, so on to the next trial.
Much more.
Let's talk Holland. So we got Holland, who is this well-known Hollywood director, and Miss Spears. I couldn't help but think of Britney Spears.
I know, that was the first thing I thought too.
Just seems kind of bizarre to me, but okay, I'll go with it. Allegedly, this director is responsible for the murder of this woman. So the reason they think so is because you know, this entire timeline of what Holland is giving them just really doesn't add up.
No.
So to take 14 minutes to walk from your house to your car and to get out your gate seems a little bit extreme.
It's a long driveway. If it's taking you 14 minutes, like, you need a golf cart to get to your car.
Exactly.
That's a long distance.
And Bosch made it very clear that he thinks that's untrue. And he even goes to the extent of saying it took so long because the woman that you're strapping in your car is dead.
And trying to carry dead weight is probably pretty hard, if I could assume.
I'd say carrying a dead woman from your front door to your car may take 14 minutes.
I would, yeah.
It's kind of fair to say.
I think that would be right.
And I think that his boo thing, the DDA, Deputy District Attorney.
Anita Benitez. I love her name. It's just so much fun. When she first said it, I thought that it was a joke. I thought that she was like having a little nickname.
Yeah. Well, apparently not, but it is clear that Bosch is still into his coworkers. He didn't learn the first time. He did not
learn. I don't think he'll ever learn.
But I like her. She's a bad bitch.
Yeah.
She's very pretty, and you know, she's not a boot. He first
she handles herself.
She's the main shit. So good for him. But they both agree that they think it's a lie, but obviously it's still alleged at this point. And the reason why Bosch is pushing so hard for this is because there's still 90 minutes that are unaccounted for.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. And then I think it adds more to Bosch's side with that girl that came forward about the alleged rape from him, too.
100%. And it's kind of scary because, okay, put yourself in this girl's position. That is wild to me.
No.
So this girl obviously having sexual relations with this director, and things just get too far and he ends up choking her. And it wasn't like a sexual choke. It was, I'ma kill you choke. She passed out.
Yeah.
But she woke up unclothed on top of the bed
with all of her clothes in a trash bag,
and her purse empty, her keys missing.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think of that, but as soon as Bosch said he thought you were dead, it all made sense to me. No,
I mean, I would literally just probably bust out crying at that point, because then it would probably click for me. Like,
yeah,
I can't imagine that. But the dude's smart. Like, that's what makes me think there's probably more people involved too. Because if he knows, hey, I need to get rid of the evidence, I need to do all of this stuff, like, isn't that really creepy?
Yes.
It gives me creepy vibes.
Exactly. It's very, very calculated. And that makes me think that obviously that this isn't his first time. However, the fact that she waited a year to come forward, hid her bruises, and deleted the voicemails that he left her apologizing seems a bit strange to me.
Either he paid her off, or she was literally scared out of her mind. I feel like either could be valid, but I don't know.
Do you think that there's a possibility that she could have been lying?
Maybe. I mean, because it was really publicized. I feel like that could be an option too, but it was very detailed.
Yes.
Like, I don't know how detailed, I mean, unless they put a lot of details in the news article whenever that came out.
I think the only way that she would be lying is if she could benefit from this in some way.
That's true.
So,
but I mean, unless like
how.
a settlement of some sort, that way he doesn't get in trouble anymore for another trial or whatnot. I don't know. I think that this guy gets off on all of it, because even at that party, he's talking to everybody and really telling this elaborate story, which, not going to lie, it was a very good story. I feel like I would watch that movie he was describing.
But he was pretty much describing the reality of it.
Exactly.
He was using Bosch's name. And the funny thing about all of this is did you pick up when that so-called actress that wants to be in this video, she said, well, I want to be in it, I just don't want to fuck the cop. And he was like, well, the cop fucks himself.
True.
And I feel like it's kind of foreshadowing
something that's going to happen.
Yes.
I mean, the dude has a lot of money and an amazing lawyer. And he also isn't the guy that's his security guard the guy that ended up like grabbing Bosch's wrist in the first season and like he knocks him through the window? Because he makes comment about that when he goes to the site.
I'm not sure. I have to pay a little bit more attention to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just very ironic.
Yeah.
And this is not the first time we heard Bosch stepping on his own toes. I mean, even Alan's lawyer said that Bosch steps on his own dick all the time. So
this is true, but he always ends up figuring it out some way or another.
He does. So I do have faith in him. Did you notice that when he met with the judge about this case did you ever watch Sabrina the Teenage Witch when you were younger?
Yes.
That was the aunt.
It was.
I could tell as soon as I heard her voice. I was like,
looked familiar.
I forget what her name was though, but she was one of the aunts in Sabrina.
That's crazy.
But here we found out that Holland actually hinted at the fact that he was guilty to Bosch. He pretty much said, well, you're not going to find anything, so good luck.
Yeah, he completely convicted himself with that line.
I agree. The only unfortunate thing is that there's no proof of it. Bosch is the only witness of him saying
he needs to start turning on a recorder and just having it in his back pocket for all this stuff.
But here's the thing. Could he have said that? Yes.
Yeah.
Could Bosch have made it up to his own benefit?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past him, to be honest.
I think that he would do something like that. I don't think that he would have negative intentions by doing that. I think that he understands that it's very clear that Holland is guilty, but he needs to find a way to make him guilty.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah, I do. I see what you're putting down. I got it.
But that case is still open. We still have to wrap it up. They still have to go to trial.
Yeah.
And
I feel like Holland's going to be drawn out the whole season.
I agree.
Like, he's going to be the key one.
He's such a sketchy dude. Like, he gives me the creeps.
I don't like him.
I cannot stand him.
He just, he gives me... Why any girl would put herself in that predicament, like, with that creepy of a dude. Just, you need to protect yourself with that one.
Oh, I agree. And so for the last case, and I think the biggest case of
this one's going to be the biggest. This is big way me.
Was the murder of Ed Gunn. So Ed, we saw him in the beginning of the episode. He was the guy in the drunk tank. His name is flagged, so anyone that picks him up from the street or takes him into the station is ordered to call Bosch. And Bosch believes that Ed Gunn is responsible for the murders of 2 escorts. And obviously, Bosch, these type of cases hold a special place in his heart.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the situation with his mother.
Of course. I don't know. This guy, you even see him earlier before he's in the drunk tank. And I think that encounter is going to be so foreshadowing of like who actually killed him is the encounter of him at the bar drinking and taking the shots with the bartender. And this guy's like paying for his tab. Like, why is this guy randomly paying for his tab?
It's very strange.
Yeah. And I feel like Ed Gunn, obviously, like if he killed these 2 prostitutes and, this other guy is out to kill Ed Gunn. Why? Like, that's my big question. Is there someone bigger that is killing more girls and Ed's just like a scapegoat?
Exactly. It's still kind of a mystery as to why everybody wants Ed Gunn. But not only was someone paying to get him drunk, but a mysterious woman picks him up at 5:20 in the morning and bails him out for $500 when in reality he would have just gotten out of jail in a couple of hours.
Yeah, and she's dressed to the nines. Like, this girl's in a red dress and these nice heels and dragging him up, throwing him in and locking the door.
Yep.
Like, even Bosch calls it out because he's watching the camera footage, which the fact that he has cameras put up is kind of an interesting little tidbit. But watching it and saying, who are you? Like, he knows that this girl has a key part in Ed Gunn and all of it. So there's a bigger party involved with all of this.
Oh, exactly. I think that this was all a plan. The person from the bar and this woman, they obviously are working together somehow because this guy, paid for him to get into the state of mind. This woman put him at a place at a time. And then all of a sudden he's murdered. And it's like, well, how? But now how is becoming even more interesting to us is because Bosch had been watching this man the entire time.
Oh, yeah.
And now come to find out, obviously, his name is flagged, so Bosch gets called immediately when it turns out that he had been murdered. And they're going through Ed Gunn's things, and they find fingerprints on his cup.
Glass, yeah.
And we already knew that Bosch had been watching him this entire time because he had cameras planted everywhere. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, he was in his house before. Were his finger, did he touch the glass? Like, I'm not really sure how that happened.
I honestly, like, I don't know why I get so into these little details, but there's a part where Bosch goes to El Compadre and gets food. He's getting a drink at the bar. He chugs his drink and walks out. If you watch that little, like, minute detail, there is a guy, the same guy that was paying for the drinks for Ed Gunn earlier in the episode, sneaks up behind Bosch as he leaves and grabs his glass. That's the end of the shot. That glass is the one that is at Ed Gunn's house. It's the glass from El Compadre. Like, it's just, it boggles my mind.
I did not pick up on that.
Yeah.
But I can see that being very true, because if he did do that, he is now putting Bosch as a suspect to the murder of Ed Gunn.
Yeah.
So if this man is responsible for killing Ed Gunn, not only did he kill him, but now he put somebody else at the scene.
And I also think that it may not even be about Ed Gunn. Whoever is paying for all this may already know the way that Bosch will react, know his calculated moves, and are probably out for him rather than Ed.
Exactly. And this person probably knows that Bosch doesn't always follow the books.
Exactly.
So this is a very likely situation that could happen.
Yeah. It's interesting to see, like, again, we were talking about Bosch's energy changing. And when he's on the rooftop and he's setting up the camera and, like, checking it and putting new batteries, he sees these guys going up the stairs and undoing the light bulb and going into the house. So he knows what's about to happen, and he did nothing. Like, he picks up his walkie and does nothing. So to me, he's almost getting more like, not heartless, but he's just getting a little bit more brutal. Like, he's letting someone he knows did something wrong die. Like, he knows he's going to get murder when someone goes into the room like that. Like, doesn't say anything.
However, what would that say about him, though, if he knew the murder happened right after?
Yeah.
Because they would be like, well, how did you know that?
Yeah.
I mean, he's like, oh, I've been watching him,
Exactly. So he's screwed either way. And then he goes into the house and, like, takes the cameras out. But his partner found one of the cameras in the smoke detector.
And this is what makes me nervous, is because everything is stacking up against Bosch. And I do have to admit, it wasn't really looking good for him at all. Because now, we have this new cop, Robertson, that's in the picture. His character is painted to be very much like Bosch. He's very old school. He cares very much about his job, like being a cop is his life, and he wants to get these people in jail, and these cases actually matter to him. So the cause of death obviously was someone dropped him off the balcony. However, evidence showed that he was struggling and that he was even choked beforehand. And this type of headlock that he was in is consistent with a type of headlock that an old school cop would be familiar with and probably use.
And the watch.
Yes.
There's, like, watch imprints, and it would only be, like, an old school cop that would have that watch.
Exactly. So now we're thinking, in Robertson's mind, Bosch's fingerprints were on the cup, and the choke is very consistent with something that Bosch could do, and Bosch's name was flagged on this man from the beginning. And now, even to go even deeper in that, we have Bosch's partner that's involved, who sees all those same details, but also is now aware that Bosch has hidden cameras in Ed Gunn's house.
Yeah. It's not looking good for him right now at all.
Right. And as an audience, we know he was on the roof that night and it wasn't him, but to everybody else, it 100% looks like it's him.
Oh, 100%. And I hate, like, it kind of makes me really upset that J. Edgar is even considering Bosch. But I can understand where he's coming from as a character and, like, seeing everything turned against Bosch. And, you know, but still, like, that's his one big adversary within the department that's always been there. And now he's starting to second guess him.
I know.
Like, he's going to be completely isolated on his own.
But it's like, I can't even blame him, though, because from his perspective, it looks like it's legit. Now, the fact that it looks so legit makes me think that the person that is setting all this up, you know, is an extremely connected person. The fact that he or she knows all these details about Bosch and specifically set the scene to make it look this way.
I wonder if it's someone within the department.
It has to be.
I mean, I could easily see it being someone either like the DA or Irving or someone like that.
Well, there's a lot of people that are not happy with Bosch in the department.
Yeah.
So there are a large group of people that want
would go out
him
for
to
him.
go. So that's good as far as all the cases. But I also wanted to bring up, so now obviously Hector Ramos is the mayor and the DA is out of the running. So that's very clear. But obviously now the DA has extreme beef with everybody because he's angry, one, that Irving got the video and that the video was released, that he was the reason why the serial killer is on the loose. And now he has to serve as the DA for however much time is left.
I think it's 2 years.
Yeah, I think it's like 2 years. And now Hector Ramos is in the chair, and now we have Irving as chief, but he's only standing in as chief for a specific amount of time.
Yeah, he's ready to leave. And I mean, I don't blame him, like the fact that his son got murdered last season. You know, I would want to leave too, but I also feel like he has some unfinished business. I don't know. He may play a big part in like helping Bosch. I don't know. I just, there's something going on with Irving. There's more of a storyline, I think, this season than there has been in the past. But I'm interested to see why the mayor wants him so bad. Why does he want to keep him on?
I'm not sure. I mean, I know that he wanted to use him in order to win over specific groups in the community.
Yeah,
because
but he won.
Yeah, so now he won. So I'm wondering how it is to his advantage to have Irving as chief when he truly doesn't want to be chief.
Yeah.
So we'll figure that out. That's one thing that we'll have to follow up on. Another thing is, I thought it was really cool of Bosch to take care of that random dude's speeding ticket. I thought he was going to tell him to buzz off.
Well, I mean, he threw it away. So
he
now
threw it away. I didn't even pick up on that. I knew that he took it from him.
Yeah.
But
now he's going to have to go find that ticket.
No,
Because poor Maddie is like, thanks, Dad. Like, the cool girls like me now just because you covered her dad's speeding ticket. So, like, poor Bosch is put in that predicament.
Yeah, now he's going to have to take care of the speeding ticket. But, I mean, hopefully he does. Because then the girls are going to be mean to Maddie if he doesn't.
I like seeing Bosch in the dad role. He's
too.
really trying to figure it out and do the best that he can.
And you can tell that he really cares about her.
Oh, of
and
course.
He wants the best for her. And he's really taking on the dad role. And as that man said in the schoolyard, he was like, you know, it's kind of cool to see a police officer be a dad, or to be a dad be a police officer.
Yeah.
It's usually someone just takes over one role to an extreme or another. And lastly, I wanted to touch on the lieutenant's interview.
Yeah.
That was extremely awkward.
That last question was just like, dun, dun, dun.
I felt badly for her, but is this something that we don't know about yet? Because I knew that obviously Bosch had relations with a boot, and that was brought to her attention. But the pronouns that the woman was using in the question were opposite.
She did. She ended up dating one of her like employees.
The lieutenant did.
Yeah, the lieutenant did in season 1, and we only saw that relation like on New Year's. Like that's a throwback. That's a couple years ago.
One episode, right?
Right, literally one episode, and then she left, and they made mention of it like in passing. Like it hasn't ever been like a big, to do within the episodes. I think it's been brought up twice that she even had relationships with someone else, but like, why is this woman making it very specific towards the lieutenant? Like it's full on like poking at. All you had to do was put her name in there, and she's basically accusing her of what happened.
Yeah, it was, and it's such a very minor detail that we picked up on as the audience, but now of course it's going to blossom into something way bigger, because we knew that the lieutenant had a relationship. However, we didn't know there was such a negative outcome.
Yeah, I had no idea about that. I just knew that it was like a one little like thing, but I didn't think it was that long of a relationship either.
Exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and say that she didn't get promoted.
Yeah, I don't think she did, but I think the guys will be happy about that. I don't think they wanted her to get the promotion at all.
That kind of breaks my heart, because that is not nice, but I think she deserves it, because she's one of those that the job is her life. And you could tell how much she wanted this position. She was practicing for her interview all day.
It was so cute.
And she had it in the bag until that last question.
Yeah.
Because that witch had to bring it up.
I don't know why that witch brought it up. Maybe she was, now she's dating the other girl?
Yeah, maybe she was involved in the relationship. It's now a situationship.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, let's move on to predictions real quick.
Okay.
So.
Let's see. I think we've made a couple already.
We have. Do you have any final predictions you want to toss in?
I don't know. I think that the girl in the red dress and the whole like group with Ed Gunn, I think that's my main prediction.
Yeah.
I feel like they've either got like someone in the department that knows all this stuff about Bosch, or there's a bigger picture of like why they're targeting Ed Gunn. I feel like Ed Gunn was just a scapegoat. I don't think that he's like actually the big mastermind behind everything.
Right. Maybe they knew that Bosch had eyes on him.
Maybe. I mean, the last line, I'm interested to see episode 3 and watch that now, because like J. Edgar's obviously investigating all that stuff, and he picks up the owl, and there's like lines underneath it. Yeah. It's like in Latin or something.
It said, beware, beware, God sees.
Yeah, and then he looks it up in Google, and Bosch comes up, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, that Bosch was actually an artist. Because I Googled what exactly he Googled, and whoever that Bosch was some like ancient artist, whatever. But what also popped up was something about the 7 deadly sins. But these are all just like titles. We didn't really explore, because I don't understand. I don't get what made him look up what he saw in the owl.
Because he saw in the picture, there were pictures on the refrigerator that had the owl in it, and where the camera was pointed up in the like smoke detector was pointing towards the owl. Oh, okay. So it was pointing towards that. So I think that's why he was thinking it. But I'm like, then that means whoever is plugging this and killing Ed Gunn knows about Bosch. Because if Bosch comes up in a Google search, like why?
It's like a dig at him. Oh my gosh, this is getting like
intense.
Honestly, the only storyline I truly care about is the Ed Gunn storyline at this point, because I feel like it's the juiciest and it has the most drama to it. The others, I assume that they're gonna grow, especially. I mean, for Meadow, we don't really.
I don't think he'll be too big, though. I think he'll be like a cute little cute. That's not the right word. A small little like sideline story with the big one. I think Ed Gunn is gonna be like the number one,
right? Because it is such a minor case in the grand scheme of things at this point, and. Holland as well, I think that's definitely developing. And it seems like he's out to get Bosch as well.
See, there's so many I lose track. Like, I can't keep track of all of these.
I know, but I mean, if we can't keep track, how do you think Bosch feels?
Right? Poor guy.
He's just weaving through like...
He's like trying to dodge all these bullets from everybody.
But I don't know. Overall, I think this was a good start to the season.
Yeah.
The fact that we both are ready for the next episode definitely says something.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with this show. Like, not gonna lie, I was binge watching to like get ready to watch season 3 and like rekindled my love for all of it. It's like I watch so many crime shows like Law and Order and all this stuff. I love how Bosch just makes it so intricate, and it's based off of the book, and there's so much more depth to these characters that you see versus just, you know, your regular cut and dry type of like procedural. I really, really like it. And on top of it, it's everywhere right now, all over LA.
It is. You know, it's so funny because he always is mentioning places in LA.
Yes.
All these restaurants. And it's so funny because he, in one of the episodes, he's like, oh, Dupar's has the best pancakes in LA.
Yep.
And ironically enough, there's a huge ass billboard of Bosch across from Dupar's.
Of course there is. They're like, okay, El Compadre, there's a Bosch sign.
Yeah,
you have it
like,
on every angle.
I see what we got going on here.
I feel like we need to start doing field trips and going to all the locations that Bosch goes to.
We can report live while we're eating pancakes at Dupar's.
Go to Dupar's. I want the margaritas at El Compadre. It's down the street. Like,
I'm down for that.
Let's go. Where else does he go?
Oh, there were so many places. He
That
was called
diner.
El Pollo Loco. Was the best takeout chicken in LA.
I mean, you've got In-N-Out. Plug for In-N-Out.
Yes, with them animal fries. Heard that.
So good.
It's funny.
That sounds good after this show.
Yeah,
I think I
I'm
might go
pretty
get some.
hungry after this.
Let's go.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us for the first 2 episodes of Bosch. We'll be back next week on... Are we on Thursday?
No, we're taking a hiatus next Thursday and the following Thursday, May 11th is when we're coming back.
So
it's going to be a while.
May 11th, we'll come back at you with 2 more episodes.
Episode 3 and 4.
Yep. So, you know, keep watching. If you've already binged through the whole season, bear with us because we're taking it slow.
Yeah. And don't give any spoilers. I don't want to know yet. I'm trying to like go along.
Pace myself
with Bosch.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, I'm Olivia Gabaree. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter, @thereal_O_G.
And I'm Candace Cruz, and you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and everything on social media at Candace R. Cruz.
Yep. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.